Brilliant. Okay, then, so I'll do my little cherry bit first, and then I'll knock that off, and then other people can share theirs. So, my question to you is, what words would you use to describe Grace Church? What are we like? Uplifting. Uplifting. That's a great word. I'll take that. Yeah, uplifting. Yeah.
Graceful.
We're graceful. Yeah, we're full of grace. Hopefully, yeah, as our name suggests. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Anything else? Any other words that you use to describe us? What do we like?
Fun.
Fun. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, a bit of fun. Loving. Yeah. Anything else?
Family.
Family. Yeah. Any other words?
Reassuring.
Reassuring. Beautiful. Some other words I got here.
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah.
Welcoming.
Welcoming. See, now all the words that you are describing are you, right? Because you are Grace Church, and that is who we are. We're not like a stuffy church. We're not like ultra-religious or strict. We are serious about Jesus, but we're not like stuffy and boring. We're alive, like, do you know what I mean? We're passionate, we're relational, we're relaxed. You can turn up as you are. Do you know what I mean? You know, well, as long as everything's covered, like, in it, do you know what I mean? You know, but aside from that, it's all good, do you know what I mean? So we are welcoming, you know, it's like it's been said, accepting, no barriers. So our vision for the community reflects who we are as a church. So what we do with that building that we've been given now has got to reflect who we are as a church. But that building that we've got has got to be somewhere that's welcoming. It's somewhere that you feel relaxed, where there's no barriers, you feel accepted, yeah? So our vision is to be who we're called to be as Grace Church. And what I love about God is he doesn't just say one thing to you, he confirms it somewhere else. Now on Friday, as I'm doing my Bible in a year, from 2 Corinthians 10, towards the end, verse 12, it says here, "We do not dare to classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they're not wise." So we're not to compare ourselves with anybody else. We are who we are, yeah? So if that wasn't enough, so that was Friday. Saturday, God gave me the exact same verse, right? And it's 2 Corinthians 10, verse 12. It says, "We do not dare classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they're not wise." But this is what what's the word? Devotional says, right? The title of it is "Comparison Will Rip Your Sails, Sink Your Boat, and Blame the Weather." Right? So the fellow who wrote this, he loves his sailing. He says, "There's this boat race called the Transpac Race that goes from California to Hawaii. I live on the water in San Diego, and I wanted to sail across the ocean. So one year I was like, why not? It takes about 5 hours to fly from Los Angeles to Honolulu at 500 miles an hour. So the boat trip at 10 miles an hour is pretty long. I wasn't really sure how long it would take. I bought a bunch of beef jerky, a couple of cases of stag chili, which was a bad move on reflection, took a couple of buddies, and I started sailing west. You can go wild preparing for this race, charting your course, preparing your boat, buying matching outfits, sextants and maps of ocean currents and star charts, not to mention all the tech gadgets. Or you can just untie from the dock and go. While the Transpac is a really famous race, for myself I called it a trip. I wasn't in it for the trophy, but for the adventure. Too often, we turn what should be an adventure with a few course corrections into a race with others, where we over-prepare, overthink, and assume that winning is the only goal. When I left harbour, it was a chaos of careening boats and guys spinning things to make the sails go taut. But once you were out in the wide ocean, it was just you. There was no point in comparing. The goal became somehow finding Hawaii at the end of the race, rather than missing it and ending up in Japan. Hear this. Comparison will rip your sails, sink your boat, and blame the weather. Don't buy the lie that an adventure with God is a race with anyone else. And what I felt God was saying is, you could take that as an individual, and same as the passage from 2 Corinthians 10, as you as an individual, don't compare yourself with others. But as a church, we are Grace Church. We are completely different to any other church, and we've been called to do something different to any other church. So let's not compare ourselves with other churches. We've got our mission to do. And our mission is to reach the land of place. But by and large, statistically speaking, people don't go to church anymore. That's the fact of the matter. You know what I mean? So, and there's a phrase that says, if we always do what we've always done, we will always get what we've always got. So if it's not working, let's do something different. So that's why we're doing the coffee shop, because how often are we going to be in church? A Sunday, possibly a Tuesday. The rest of the time is populated by the community. They're coming in, so it's got to be somewhere where they feel welcome. Yeah? That's the whole point of it. They wouldn't come into a church ordinarily, but they'll come into a coffee shop. There's a phrase that says, a man who goes to a brothel is looking for Jesus. Yeah? Well, how much more so someone come into a coffee shop buying a cake? Maybe they're looking for Jesus. Yeah? Maybe they're looking for that friendship and companionship. Yeah? So, like I said the other week, when I was at the mental health hub, a fellow there who runs the hub, he used to work in marketing, and I was telling him about it. He said, oh, bake me to church, he said, really. And it's a funny phrase, but actually, that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to create a cafe where people can come in, so we are literally baking them to church. They're coming into church. Yeah? So although it might not look like a church, it will look like a coffee shop. But the church is you, and you. Yeah? And you are welcome, and you are friendly, and you are accepted, and you are kind. Yeah? The early church met where?
Homes.
People's homes. Yeah? They didn't have a building. So we want to turn that place into the vibe and the feel of somebody's home. Which is why when my mate was getting rid of the sofas, we had the sofas. Because we want people to feel relaxed. We want people to be able to chill out and relax. So when we started Grace Church, way back in the treetops, we were sitting around tables and we were cafe style. Emma remembers. And other people felt really welcome as a result. When you sit in rows, people feel a bit like, really, you know. A lot of people don't fancy going to church anyway because they've had bad experience. Very few people have had a bad experience in a coffee shop. Do you know what I mean? Which is one of the reasons why we're doing it, yeah? We want to, Paul says, I've become all things to all men, so that by all means I might win some. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create the atmosphere where people feel welcome, they can come in, and we can see people saved. Because just turning up here on a Sunday, as much as I love it, sweating buckets, singing with you, that's fantastic. We ain't seeing Clay saved. People aren't coming through the door, yeah? But when we're visible, and we've got a coffee shop that's open Monday to Friday, they feel welcome there, hopefully they'll feel welcome on a Sunday. And they spend time with some of us there midweek, they'll know, do you know what, I spent time with Dina, she's fab. Spend time with Hannah, she's awesome. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. So that's my encouragement to you from what I wanted to share. Is as a church, don't compare us to anybody else. We are called to do what we're called to do. And we can compare ourselves and think, well, look at that. They're all singing or dancing, they are. They've got the greatest musicians and the greatest speakers and they've got the lighting show and everything. And we've never been like that. We're a family church and we do what we do. Yeah? So comparison will rip our sails, sink our boats, and we'll blame the weather. So don't fall for that. We don't classify ourselves or compare ourselves with some others who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves to themselves, they're not wise. So let's not be wise in the sight of the world, let's be wise in his eyes and chase after him. So that's what I wanted to share. Enjoy it. Anybody got any questions on that before I leave the floor to everybody else?
Yeah, I'm a bit confused about the man going in the brothel is looking for Jesus.
So, a man going into a brothel, you think he's looking for sex, right?
He's looking for something.
Yeah. He's looking for something.
Right,
He's looking for something. There we are. You nailed it. You answered your own question. Yeah. For sure. I saw the hand go up there.
Connection. They're going for a connection that they feel they no longer have, and they think the only way they can get it is through sex, unfortunately. Because that's what the world says. The world says that if you're missing something, go and get somebody else. Instead of trying to invest in what you have, just go elsewhere. And it's just a thing that draws so many people away. There's so many people going there, you're right, looking just for connection.
Yeah, absolutely. Deep down they're looking for Jesus. Right, I'll turn my phone off and then leave the floor open.